So, Sister Radhika is a postgraduate in psychology and she's practicing Raj Yoga meditation for past more than 25 years. She's currently managing the Brahma Kumari's Raj Yoga Nagarjuna Management Center at Hyderabad, which is again like second Silicon Valley of India. And she's been instrumental in demystifying spirituality, especially for the working professionals. She's designed so many training modules to help working professionals to implement the spiritual principles very easily. This includes conflict resolution, personality transformation, and lifestyle management, and likewise many such training modules to easily give spiritual principles to working professionals. She's even published two books for the business and industry wing that talk about the practical spiritual solutions to conflicts faced at workplace. Like Sister Radhika has um, trained many IT professionals as well as many corporate people, and she's also practicing Raj Yoga meditation for a long time. And knowing our need for leadership qualities and how to lead from within, she is very heartily given us time today, and we are very, very happy to have you with us, Sister Radhika. We very, very warm welcome from all of us on this webinar.
I think it was, a few years ago, and I was in Delhi. And we're thinking about a topic for a dialogue, and everyone's sitting together, and they want to discuss about leadership. And Asha Didi in Delhi came up with this topic, leading from the heart. And everything we spoke about that evening, I remember, was so much about the power within. And I also remember quite a few years ago, we had another dialogue about leadership. And there was a small group of people, probably about maybe 20 of them sitting together. And they had just had to stay together for about an hour. That's all. And in that 1 hour, they were supposed to reflect upon themselves and think. Um, and to think about who inspired them the most. And before that, they had introduced the concept about soft power and hard power. And they mentioned that soft power is something that comes from within, your values and your virtues and your qualities and the impact that you can have on others. And the hard power was something to do with your, achievements and your qualifications and all that. So, and they asked them, now just think about who inspired you the most, because these were leaders. They were holding very responsible positions, heading organizations. So they asked them, think over and let us know. So just a little music in the background, and a few thoughts, just like how Archana just gave those thoughts, a similar kind of a thing. And I was just sitting there and I was wondering, and I was thinking that these people would come up with a thought like, okay, someone in a business field, or because someone somewhere from medical field, so they would say, someone from the medical field, someone very inspiring, and seeing them, we thought we should become more better in our profession. But it just so happened once they came back after 20 minutes of silence, each one of them was sharing about, who inspired them the most. And each one of them had said either mother, father, grandfather, or a sister. And there was no mention about any professional at all. And it really hit hard for everyone that how soft power for a mother at home, and most of their mothers were homemakers, and none of them had any professional degrees. They didn't go out there and take over the world and take over organizations, but they had such an impact on them that they became such leaders. So how do I really lead? One thing is to, nowadays, it's like a lot of people come up and tell me it's so difficult to make people listen, and do what we want them to do, or understand, and get to our wavelength. So whether it's professionally, whether it's at home with your kids or people like that, it becomes so difficult. So, and this is the moment of time. It's very important to know that our soft power has such an impact on others, and that is what is all about leading from the heart. And leading from within is about, using your heart to such an extent that you don't have to put in words, or you don't have to emphasize something, you don't have to put in a lot of energy and effort. People automatically follow. I think every human soul on this earth can understand the heart. And probably because you are in a kind of a setup, in a scenario where you have to follow instructions, because you are in a company or you are in an organization. So okay, you just take up certain instructions and do it. But the thing is, there's a lot of difference in following people because they have some qualification or they're experienced, and something that comes personally where you're touched by them. I remember many years ago, I was in Vishakhapatnam, and I was having a conversation with the family, and there's two sons. They came up and they said they both are brothers, and they were saying, "Sister, my father is overqualified for this particular city. He's done, pretty well." In academically, in the sense that he's studied in Harvard, and he's from IIM, and a whole lot of things that he has done. And but the thing is, he's chosen to work in this small company in Vishakhapatnam, and we feel he's not been appreciated to the extent that he should be. And he should, he gets so many opportunities abroad, and then he doesn't take it. So we're so disappointed with him. You should have a conversation and ask him what makes him, stay in that small company for so many years. It's been 30 years since he's been in that company. So I happened to have a conversation with this person. He had joined the company as, in a different role, but now he is a vice president in that company. So while I was having a conversation, he said, I asked him, your sons are quite worried, and they have this concern of why you didn't take up something abroad. So he said, there's only one reason. I said, what is the reason? He said, the thing is, when he joined the company, there was this orientation program where the chairman of the company, the directors, they all come and meet the whole group, and then they talk, interact. So it just so happened that there were 40 of them, new recruits, including him. This person's name was Ravi Kumar. So he was also a part of it. And so the director, the chairman, comes up and says hello to everyone and introduces the organization and the principles and the policies or whatever. They went through the whole thing, and it looked like the chairman was in such a hurry that, they said, please introduce yourself. And everybody got up and shared who they were and which organization, which, school they come from, and so on and so forth. And in a jiffy, he left. The chairman left. Exactly 2 months later, he was walking down the corridor of his company, this brother Ravi Kumar, and he happened to see the chairman from a distance. And he's walking with his whole entourage, like the whole people, he's walking across. And he thought he'll just make way and then say good morning. He just wanted to meet eye to eye to the chairman and say good morning. So when the chairman approached, and before he could even say good morning, the chairman looked at him, and like he recognized him. He put a hand around him, and they said, Ravi. No? He immediately recognized him. He said, Ravi. And he patted him, Ravi, 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 3 times. He said, sister, he patted me 3 times, and I'm here 30 years. And that's all it needs. So there is so much influence and impact of soft power, which comes from internal values. Even if I have to lead my own life, my own task, my own role with my heart, it becomes easier and it becomes more simple. There could be one thing that I have to get things done. If I use entirely my head, head is needed, of course, I need to use my logic. I need to have the clarity of how to go about analyze, and eventually, no, this is how I need to do it. But if the heart is not working, I'm not leading myself to the heart, I can't sustain the enthusiasm. I can't sustain the feeling of success. I can't sustain the qualities that I require to enjoy what I, accomplish. Many a times I can get somewhere, I can become successful, a whole lot of people appreciating me, but I don't feel it. And the feeling comes when I understand that wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, it's because of these qualities, these values, these experiences, and all these people's help. So the thing is, leading from the heart. Someone was asking me, what is leading from the heart when I'm doing something? Because I'm a leader, and I'll have to do something so that people can follow me. But when I do something, how do I know I'm doing it from the heart? So let's say there is a table. Somebody has set this computer here, the table here, so that I can speak to you all. One thing is to just do it because I have to do it, and it's done. I mean, there's no problem with that because the task is accomplished and it's fulfilled, and everybody is comfortable and they're all listening, and that's fine. But the greater thing is about what did you think and what did you feel whilst doing it. That is, you have this thought or this kind of feeling that I want to benefit so many people. I'm so glad I'm a part of this particular event where so many people are listening and the sister is able to speak, and so I'm going to set up this table accordingly. So when I have these kind of feelings, which is combined with that particular action, they say in Hindi, karma is good. Karma is good. You perform this action, but there has to be a dharma. There's a purpose, the right feeling, the meaning. There should be that kind of a richness of feeling when I do it. And that is leading from the heart. And it is so wonderful that people like to follow you. You automatically inspire others. You don't have to go and tell them do it. And whatever you would say would automatically be accurate because you live it. I happened to have a conversation with someone a long back, and he was saying that he works with, he's a team lead, and he has a whole lot of people working under him. And so he has to see that they do things in time and things like that. So he has another boss that he has to report to. So he was mentioning that he went up to one of his subordinates, but he is quite a close friend with that subordinate. I mean, there's not much of an age gap and they hang on together. And so he went up to the subordinate and said in Hindi, he said, jaldi jaldi karo, boss ko gussa aayega. The boss was very particular, quite impatient, and he wants things to be done in time and all. So he said, jaldi jaldi karo, boss ko gussa aayega. So that subordinate looked at him in a very friendly way. And he was quite a witty person, that subordinate. And he said, what do you mean, jaldi jaldi karo? The thing is, aap bhasha badli karo. You just change the way you're speaking. The tone is not good. You change the way you're speaking. So he said, what do you expect me to say? Because this is my role. This is my responsibility. And I have to get things done. So, jaldi jaldi karo. What's wrong in that? The boss ko gussa aayega. He'll get angry if you don't do it. He said, no, I don't like the way you're saying it. So he said, okay, then tell me, how would you expect me to say it? I mean, I have to say it. I can't just say, sit back, relax yourself, don't do anything. I can't say that because, this is my role. So what do you want me to say then? So that's subordinate. Now he said, instead of saying, jaldi jaldi karo, boss ko gussa aayega, why don't you say, jaldi jaldi karo, boss khush ho jayega? Boss would be happy, if you do it. Why you want to, why do you have that intention to give tension? Why don't you relax with it? The boss can be really happy. Why don't you do it? So if I am leading from the heart, a lot of people say, if you just use the heart, Sabi, they take advantage of you. You just can't get things done. People won't look up to you because they won't even give you that kind of respect. The thing is, there is a method, there is a way. I mean, I've used my head. I mean, I have to get things done. I have to reach my targets. Okay, you can do all of that. There's nothing wrong. But then when you use your heart, you're more relaxed, you're more comfortable, you're more relatable, you can connect. You're very resourceful. And what happens is that because of that, you don't think too much. And you can get a lot of things, done more quickly. I was in a company long back, near Mumbai. There's a place called, it was a power station, and Boiser is the place, and there's this power station there. So they had three a whole day, a training program that they had kept, and so I was there, and the topic was self-managing leadership. So before I could even start, the introduction was over and everything, and there's all these people who had departments there, and they were all there, and and that's a big thing for them to give 3 whole days for a program. And so one of them just said, if you don't mind, sister, we have some questions before you start the session. I thought they were curious about the organization. Probably they never heard about Brahma Kumaris or something. So I said, okay, sure, why not? He said, I've read so many books on leadership. I've attended a lot of seminars on leadership. And, what is Brahma Kumari's take on leadership? I just want you to briefly just tell me in a sentence, and then, I'm curious. I would like to know, because it's going to be a 3 whole day seminar. So I really want to know. And what I have understood about leadership from all the teachings of Brahma Kumaris, and what I have, practically seen, our dadis who had this organization, what kind of leaders they are, and whatever I have observed and understood is that, you're a leader when you don't think too much. It's not like you don't plan, you don't, focus, and you don't have a particular idea of what you have to do, but you don't think too much. If you're thinking too much, you can't lead anybody. You can't even lead yourself. So how can you lead anybody? A lot of things in life can be done in a very simple way with very few thoughts. If I'm thinking too much, that means I'm not sure. A leader who's not sure is not a leader at all. And when I say leader, leader does not really mean that I have people just following me and people looking at me all the time. But leader is someone who knows what they're thinking is what they speak, and what they speak, that's exactly what they do. There is equilibrium. I feel something else and I'm putting it across differently. I am misunderstanding what's happening around me. I'm not in tune with what's happening around me. So the thing is, unless I don't lead myself in the sense that I have control. Control over my feelings, control over my thoughts, control over my interactions, control over knowing what people require around me. When I'm aware of what is needed around me, I'm probably able to contribute the right way and the right thing at the right time. I must have been in my maybe 6th grade or something like that. I don't remember. I was quite young. And I happened to have, my uncle coming over, visiting us, and it was my birthday. So I was pretty excited because I know he said, I'm going to take you to a bookstore, he said. And I thought, this is a wonderful thing, because I love reading books. Not really like autobiography kind of books, but fiction, So I loved all the story books and things like that. So I was pretty excited, and I went to the store and I was looking at that particular aisle where a lot of fiction books are kept. But somehow my uncle went up and he picked up, 2 huge books. They're not anything to do with stories at all, encyclopedias, 2 of them. And then he just bought it. I mean, he didn't even take me inside or, ask me what I want or something. He just bought it. And then he was pretty happy. He was very happy for, thinking about his niece and thinking about what a lovely book and how much knowledge he's going to get in by reading all this encyclopedia and things like that. And then I come back home and I told my mother, your brother doesn't love me at all. How is it that he bought my encyclopedia? I never touched those books. I know he has a very high concern in his sort of love that he feels that I should have more knowledge and have this kind of exposure to all these things about the world. But the thing is, most times when you fulfill somebody's needs, if you're a leader, in your home, a leader at work, leader in any sort of an environment. It's not about leading people, but then you're aware. I always feel it's like being like a well. There is a fountain in Hyderabad. Um, it's called the Lumbini Park. There's this fountain, and in it keeps going. And there's a little story that they tell you while this particular fountain just goes on. And I used to take them probably about 8, 9 years ago. I would take people there, whenever they're visiting Hyderabad, just see that story and see that water thing, water fountain, and it's very boring. Let me tell you, I mean, after about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it gets so boring you can't see more than that. I mean, what else can you see? There's just water just flowing and flowing, and then some pictures are coming on it. It's not really interesting. Yeah? But a well, if you see a well, and you look and you peep into it, you want to keep peeping into it and just want to see how deep it must be and how much water there could be. It's very curious. I've always, when I see a well, I don't see much of wells in Hyderabad now, but at a point when I would see wells, I would be very curious and I would just peep and see the depth of it. People who are like wells are very available. They're there. And they have fresh water and they can give you to quench your thirst. They can actually make you comfortable, because they are there. But people who are like fountains, it's all of this joy and I'm so happy. You're very happy, but what about the people around you? I'm just so happy and everything wonderful is happening, but it's just fountain is nothing but circulation of dirty water. I mean, nobody can go quench their thirst with so much water around and it's all flowing around. All that kind of, pomp with all these different colors and music and all, but yet you can never fulfill your thirst. So to be leading from your heart is to be like a well, very incognito, but very powerful. Your impact is such that you're unforgettable. People will remember. Like most of the times when people have this kind of impact on others, and they can never forget them. They can never forget them. And the memory that people have about them are their signatures. I always feel it's like the signatures. I remember when I was in college, I had this kind of an experience in this, how you lead from your heart. It's a very simple professor teaching statistics. I mean, nothing really. If you meet him, he doesn't seem like very knowledgeful and he knows a lot. He's really simple. He's been teaching for the past 20 years when we were doing our masters there, and we having an arts background and everything like that. When statistics came in as one of the subjects and all, we were not very keen to study that, and it was a little complicated for us, but we're trying to understand. So he would teach us statistics and he was very clear about how to go about it, and he's really good at his subject. But then a whole lot of us, most of us would not attend those classes because it would be a little after the afternoon, and statistics was quite boring. So there was this, because this was the first, we just joined, and then the head of the department, I remember he walked in once, and then he asked us, please let us know, how do you like all the subjects and everything, and let us know, are you enjoying all it. So some of us, instead of saying statistics is so boring, I mean, it was boring. Instead of saying that, they said, statistics professor is boring. I don't know where that came up. I don't know how it happened, but they just said that statistics professor is boring. And the minute they said that, they regretted it. But the thing is, but the head of the department heard it, and it seems they had a meeting. We came to know later when we came back to the university on Monday. We came to know that they had a conversation. They called Dr. Rao, that is the statistics professor, and they spoke to him and everything. And they told him that please make it interesting. This new batch, the first years, they're not enjoying statistics and things like that, whatever. Now, he's been teaching statistics for 20 years. He could as well walk into the class on Monday, look straight at us, and he can just say it. He would just say, how dare you all tell that, I don't teach you all well? Do you all attend the classes regularly at all? He had a lot of points that he can put across and ask us and things like that. But no, he walked in as a leader. I can never forget that. He walked in and then he said, I've been teaching statistics for 20 years, but I take up this opportunity to request you all to help me make statistics more interesting. And I'm sure you will help me in this. And I'm going to think of so many different ways now to make it, something, you will be comfortable with, that you will enjoy it. Such humility and with such a down to earth attitude that he came across. From that moment onwards, I remember none of us have ever missed his class. I don't know whether he made it interesting or not. With statistics, how much interesting can you make it anyway? But then his personality was very impressive, very inspiring. And I remember when we were, we finished our course and everything, and there was you have a farewell party and say bye bye, and thanking all the faculty and all the staff and everything. So everybody had to go up on the stage and speak whatever you want to say to the department. You can speak it up. So everybody is going and speaking, and I couldn't fail to notice that everyone who went on the stage, everyone, oh, each and every student in our class were saying, thank you, Professor so and so, thank you to the head of the department, thank you for this one, and a special thanks to Dr. Rao. And why it was a special thanks? It's not about statistics. Now, if you ask me about statistics, I don't remember anything about statistics, but I remember the statistics professor. I can never forget him. So when we had a conference in Mount Abu, education wing, value-based education conference in Mount Abu, so I called him. I said, I would like you to come and attend this conference. He said, what has that got to do? Values? I don't teach values, and I teach statistics. So how is this connected to me? I mean, why are you inviting me? I said, sir, you're epitome of all values. You all got to do with these values. So the thing is, when you live it, you don't have to teach it. A lot of people tell, you have to be this, you have to be like that. They keep on telling you directions and ways and guidelines of how to have certain qualities. These are the things you cannot talk or tell. There is this a story about Gandhiji, I think. Someone told me. And I think a lot of people, most of you might be knowing this story also, but I just want to share it. It seems Gandhiji was there, and a mother with his little son, she walked in and she said, Gandhiji, please tell my son not to eat jaggery. It's not good for his teeth. Too much jaggery he wants and he keeps eating. So please tell him not to eat. So Gandhiji said, yeah, I will. But I'll tell him, but come after 1 week. So said, okay. So she went back after 1 week and she went up with this child. And then he looked at him and he said, say, jaggery is not good. You should not eat jaggery so much. So the mother said, Gandhiji, you could have said that 1 week before, no? When I came with my child, you would have told that only. So he said, no, but I was eating jaggery. No? So I had to leave it for a week, and then I can tell, because there's impact because I live it. When I live something, you don't have, because whatever you say, very little, it'll have an impact. When you do it, others watch it. People learn quickly when they watch it, when they see you do it. Words don't have that kind of an impact at all. Soft power is always subtle. It's very incognito, and the impact, if you just ask me, how did your mother inspire you? How did she inspire you? She just fed you, she saw that you were comfortable and she made you sleep and get up and whatever. What was the way that she inspired you? You can't pinpoint and say that, but there's impact of the personality. It is there. It works very subtly. And a lot of times I've seen people just being with, people with very inspiring personalities, with this kind of qualities, just being with them, they start becoming like them because they keep watching. And the choice is in what you think and what you speak and what you do. There is control. That's exactly why it's important that I recognize the importance of these qualities that I have, because I don't have to learn it. I can't teach others this, and I don't have to learn it either. I just have to remind myself, smriti, to give myself the awareness again and again and again. I am this. Now, if I take up something like love, or I take something like peace, something like generosity, I have to remind my I am that. Because there's nobody out there who can come up to me and pat my shoulder and say, "Oh my God, you're so good all the time." I mean, that would be lovely if someone would do that every day and all the time. I mean, I can really do well because there's a lot of energy that you're getting. You can sustain that enthusiasm. I mean, that was ideal, way of someone can do that for us, but that doesn't happen. I mean, practically speaking, that doesn't happen. So I should find a way. Meditation is all about finding a way to remind yourself time and time again, telling yourself that, I am this, I am love, and I am peace. Somebody was asking Adati ji, Dadi, I want to be this, I want to do this, I want to be more calmer, I want to be more focused, I want to be more clear headed, I want to be all this. And Dadi said, don't make so much effort to keep on thinking that you have to do this, you have to do that. Hmm? That you have to do this, you have to do that. Don't complicate your mind. So simply Dadi said, think that you're already that. There's a saying in Hindi, जहाँ स्मृति है वहाँ समर्ति है. Where there is the awareness, there is strength. Automatically. That reminder that I am that. I don't think someone has to tell me that. I have to tell myself that. At the right time, because if I lead from my heart, at the right time, I get the right answer from my heart. Because so many times people do some things and then they regret. They regret, and then they think I shouldn't have said that, I should have done that, I should have not, thought like that. But then to have that kind of, clarity, and that kind of link with myself, that at the right time I tell myself, no, I don't have to do this, I don't have to get into it, I don't want to waste so much of my energy. And I happen to have someone calling me and asking me, just telling me that they want to meditate, and I ask them, why do you want to meditate? And I always ask people when they say they want to meditate, and I said, why do you want to meditate? And she said, I want one word coming in my mind all the time. I said, what is that one thing that has to come into your mind all the time? She said, koi baat nahi. It's okay. Nothing is very important. If I can get this reminder again and again, that is nothing is too important than the state of my mind. If I can take care of that, I can a little bit pamper it and take care of it and learn to speak and communicate with myself nicely. It is so simple, it is so easy to be connected to others, and I can actually lead others through. That's exactly why sometimes people come up and say that, I want to do this, this new year, I've taken this resolution, this I've thought about that. If I keep on thinking about doing it and doing it, it doesn't happen. I am it. I am that. It is not, it's not like you are lying to yourself. No, that's the truth. If you wish it, it's what you're going to become. It's there within you. I remember someone asked us to write about what are your qualities, what are your strengths, and what are your, good qualities. Write it down. And so somebody was struggling with it so much. So the faculty who was there, he came up and I remember he looked at this particular person and he said, "Tell me what touches you the most in others, the qualities that you really love in them." So she said, I like others, quality of generosity. If people are very generous and big hearted to forgive and to give and all, it's very. So he said, that's exactly who you are. What you like to be is what you are internally, but then you have to bring it out. So the leading from your heart is to bring that out, what you are. I remember someone coming up and telling me, every day, like literally every day, she would come up and tell me something about her husband. And it would be naturally something not very good. And after hearing to her for quite a few months, I happened, she just walked in and she said, "Sister, my husband has just dropped me and I would want to bring him in and I would want you to meet him." I said, "Yeah, why not?" And she was going back to bring him from the car. And then she stopped and turned back and she said, "Sister, I'll bring him, but I just want to tell you something. I've been telling about him for so long." I said, "Yes, you have been." And she said, "I just want to let you know, sister, he's all that, whatever he is, and he does all the wrong things and everything, but basically, he's a nice person." I said, "That I agree. That I do agree. That is basically a nice person. And that's exactly who we are. We are basically very, very pure, loving beings. We are that. We automatically that. And the minute you remind, many a time when you remind a person, you are like this, why are you behaving like this? You are the sensitive. Ah, that's true. You know? Someone sent me a forward long back. In that, it seems, I don't know if it's true, but it seems there is a village in Africa, somewhere in Africa, where there's someone who does something, like how we have panchayat and all, that they sit and then they will give decisions for someone who's done wrong or things like that. So here it's like this, that people who do wrong, they call them, they make that person stand and right in between. And there's a whole lot of people, like the whole villages will surround them. hmm? Like any panchayat, how they all sit together, all the elders and everybody. And then they'll start, they don't talk about where they went wrong and what they did and nothing. They start telling about his virtues and how good he is and how good, whatever good he has done. They keep on reminding, they keep on saying, everyone starts telling him, and that person repents, regrets, and realizes what wrong he has done. You know, what a beautiful punishment it is. So that is a kind of, I think, punishment we should give to ourselves. Keep on reminding ourselves what qualities we possess, who we are, and what kind of qualities God has given us. We have to keep reminding ourselves again and again and again. So we'll have a few minutes of silence, and I'll give you some thoughts. Sit back, relax yourself. Put all the weight on your feet, and if you're sitting, wherever you're sitting, relax. Just let your mind go with the thoughts that I give you. And if your mind wanders, don't worry, bring it back. Don't try too hard. I sit here in silence, having taken out my time to think about myself, to talk to myself. This is my moment. This is my time. And I gently remind myself that hidden behind my eyes is a secret world, a world that nobody can see. Only I am aware that I am thinking there, feeling and understanding there. And I do possess treasures of virtues, experiences, and qualities right behind my eyes, like a spark of light, a point of living light. I am this point of energy who's giving life to this body, and I'm love, and I'm peace, and I'm happiness. And as I'm reminding myself of these qualities, I'm automatically spreading it across around me. And wherever I go, I create environments. I create environments where people feel comfortable, they feel appreciated. With this reminder of who I am, I'm automatically meeting and connecting to others with absolutely no attitude, like just as if I'm meeting them for the first time. These good wishes, these pure feelings will spread across. For I am a giver. I can let go what is not really good for me, and I watch and I learn and I pick up the qualities from everyone under the canopy of God's protection. I wish everyone happiness, patience, and strength. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, sister. It was so enlightening, and we got so many different ways. So, welcome everybody. Welcome back to this webinar. Now, I hope you all have had a very enlightening webinar about how to lead ourselves and how to influence others without exerting our authority and through our own conduct and our own being, and how simple it is. I mean, this pyramid is just too simple for us. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat window. And sister is happily spending about 10 or 15 minutes more with us to talk to us. So, as your webinar host, I would volunteer to read out your questions to the sister, and Sister Radhika would, enlighten our souls further on this topic. So, feel free to use the chat window. Send to everyone. You can select send to everyone. Or if someone wish to get unmuted, we can even unmute your audio. If you don't wish to type, please raise your hand and we'll unmute you. So two participants have raised their hands. So Brother Praful, can I request you to unmute them one by one?
Okay. We practice such method, but subordinates take. See, there are two things here. One thing is behaviorally, I'm being very loving and using my heart and being there for others. But at the same time, it's important internally that I'm very strong. I believe in what I'm doing. I know where I'm getting there, because humility cannot come without self respect. If I'm just being humble and just want to be nice, but the thing is, if I don't hold that self respect of who I am and I don't believe in myself, then it becomes very difficult for others to understand, because they're seeing very nice behavior, but what travels across is what you are as a personality. But internally you don't really think great about yourself, but you're being very nice to everyone. So it's very contradictory, and people can take you lightly then. They want to see what you believe in. They want to see that you're not meek. You're not meek, but you come from self-respect. And it has an impact. Eventually there's a lot of impact in that. So it's important to check what is inside too. Yeah. How to handle challenge situations. See, something becomes challenging when I think too much about it. Because there are situations and situations are going to be there. I remember someone talking to somebody, and he's in deep trouble in his company, deep trouble. And so one of the senior sisters went up to him and they said, जो भी problems है, whatever you have, it's not going to be there anymore. It's going to finish. It's going to be all right. And he just looked at the sister and he said, there are no problems at all. I said, what do you mean you don't have problems? It's all in the newspaper. We read it. So he said, sister, the problems are there, but they finished here in my mind. They are there out there, but it has to finish here. So it's important that we be clear that am I investing a whole lot of energy, a lot of thought, a lot of description about it, and worrying about it, then it magnifies. So the first and the foremost thing is, what are the thoughts that I am creating towards that particular challenge? And then I can move ahead. If we already think we already are what we wish to become, then how do we make that effort? See, there is this triangle, like we understand that, I have to do this. Let us say I want to be more calmer and I want to be more balanced. This is something which I want to do. But before I do something, I have to be it. Because you can't sustain doing. You can do it for 2 days, you can do for 3 days, you can just do it for a week, and then you're back to square one. That's what happens, because something motivates us, or we just take up a thought or resolution, but it is short-lived. So that's exactly why I have to practice what I am. That is, if I have to be calm, that means I am peace. And if I am peace, and that's exactly why I want to be peaceful. Peace is not something I need to go and bring it from somewhere and make it my own. No, that is who I truly am. Like when people come up and say, I want to sleep comfortably, I want to sleep deep, and I will always remind them, I mean, you've never slept like that. No, my whole life I've never slept like that. When you were a little child, when you were like 3 months old or 2 months old, whatever, how would you sleep? They said comfortably, it's like very deep. So you have to go back to what you originally were. So I am means this is who I truly am originally, and I have to remind myself of that, so that those qualities emerge once again in my life. So that is a method. Reminders, smriti. Keep on giving myself that smriti, and sometimes we don't even believe that. We tell ourselves I'm peaceful. I don't believe it. I'm really peaceful, really, because in my actions I don't see that. But then if I keep reminding myself of that, reminding who am I and what are these qualities, it automatically starts coming into life gently. That's a right way to do it.
Sister, you've gone on mute. We can't hear you. Now it's there.
So the thing is, when we say leading from the heart, that does not mean that I should not be firm. Like I gave you the example of, this team lead talking to a subordinate. He is getting it done, but he has to say it in the right way, right? And there are a lot of people, how much ever you say it, I mean, they may not pick it up at all. But I have seen one method working for someone I know. He said every time he would go up and tell him that do something and say, okay, I'll look into it. And then and the right time they come to know that he has not done it. And then he will say, oh, I'll do it. I mean, like he wants to just cover it up and wants to do something else. So people are really upset with that. But the thing is, what he did was every time he would go up and tell him in front of others, he will make it a point to tell him and then add, Mohan is going to do this and he's going to do a wonderful job. And I'm sure about that. And he would always make him responsible for a task which he's always failed till then. And that man, that Mohan, he started doing so well. And when he asked him, and how are you doing it so well nowadays, he said, because I don't know, I don't think so, I have it in me, but seeing how much you trust me and you're putting me forward and you keep on telling me that I'm the one who's going to do it, I automatically started doing it. It is the feeling that if I have a thought in my mind, he's no good, he's not going to do it, he's not going to, if this thought is playing in your mind, it'll reach him. You don't even have to talk about it, it'll reach him. That is what I meant when I said leading from your heart. Because whatever your heart holds, it travels. And they will know what you think about them. Any questions?
Yeah. Any more questions? Thank you so much, sister. That is so great to really implement that come. So how to go about it actually. So it further reaffirms as to how to be in harmony with our own thoughts and actions. Any other questions? How do I understand the decision that I make in my life are guided by the God? If that is understood clearly, I don't make mistakes and I choose the right one and become successful. Mr. Sundar Krishnan is asking this question. Would you like me to repeat it?
What is that? Is that a question?
Yeah. So the question is, how do I understand the decisions that I make in my life are guided by the God? If that is understood clearly, I don't make mistakes and I choose right one and become successful. So shall I copy this question for you here? Everyone
Yeah,
take
I
note.
got the gist of it. So the thing is, if it is guided by God, um, you would not even think about, I mean, you don't even have to discuss about it. You won't ask questions about it. You're not confused. You somehow, somewhere inside, your intuition will let you know that you're right. That doesn't require a whole lot of explanations either. Um, you know, anything to do, any right thing you do, it'll always end up giving you a very pleasant feeling. Automatically. I remember someone telling me that he wanted to go from here to Muzaffarpur, and he asked me, sister, is it right or wrong? I just, he said, he didn't even ask me whether it's right and wrong. He just said, sister, my university will give me a concession on my ticket if I tell them that, I'm going to Muzaffarpur on some research. So shall I say that? I said, I asked him, are you going for research? He said, no, I'm not going for research. I'm just visiting my family. I said, then, if you know it was right, you would never ask me. If you're asking me, that means you know it's not right. So when you're guided by God, you don't even have to go and ask people, do I do this? Do I not do that? But It always ends with a pleasant feeling. Even in ego, you would like to do it. Whatever you think it's all right in ego, but then you won't end up with a pleasant feeling. Yeah. My question is how to take right decisions for my life or for my career. See, right decisions are something, um, are not ruled by likes and dislikes. If you have strong likes, that this is exactly how it has to be, and this is the kind of life I want, and this is the kind of career you have to open yourself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be focused and clear head about where you're going, but if you're very obsessed with only one sort of a solution, one particular direction, one way, then you tend to get stuck. You should be open. Open to the idea of learning, discovering, and moving ahead. And then, and a lot of people ask me, what is being positive about your future? And I always tell them, positivity about the future is whatever would I put in all my effort, I'll put in all my energy, but whatever comes, it's fine. I'm going to make the most out of it. I'll do the best in it. So my right decision should be in tune with my values. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome.
So, are there any more questions? So, since everybody good with the insights so far, we have last 10 minutes to close the webinar. So, we
Uh,
can take one more if you like.
if anybody would like to ask question, they can unmute themselves as well.
Yeah, you just have to click on unmute, whoever just did a raise of hand. The control is with you.
Hello.
Yeah.
What if the person is continuous defaulter? Even if after telling him or her to do things rightly, he is not listening.
That's what I just told you. That you telling doesn't work at all most times. Most time, majority of the times, your telling doesn't work. Your feeling towards that person works. So if I have a whole lot of his identity very clear in my head, that is a defaulter, and it's very ingrained in your heart, that's what will work. That's exactly what will get communicated to him every time you speak to him, every time you tell him to do something, because somewhere in back of your mind he's not going to do it, and that's exactly what you will communicate through your feelings, even though you're just saying do it, but that person gets communicated that I know you won't do it, but I'm telling you to do it. That's what it is. It's very subtle, the impact of what you feel and think. It happens.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, sister. Yeah, it is very important that we empower people with the trust and faith if we really want them to change. And we also need to exhibit and have those values. You gave us so many examples of Gandhiji and likes, and it is really motivating that yes, we really don't need to make much long list and think that there is so much to improve. We already are that if we have that wish and just creating our own mechanisms to remind ourselves um, and through meditation. So that's definitely helpful.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Sister Radhika.
Yeah, thank you.
It was lovely to have you, and we hope to have you again this year. On any other topic.
Sure.
I thank you on behalf of all the participants here and the entire IT wing of Brahma Kumaris for having taken out this time today. And before we close, now we are about to close our webinar. I would just like to share about the upcoming retreat of IT Wing that is happening in Mount Abu. So, Brother Praful, do you have any slide on that, or would you like me to just share the dates?
I
Maybe
think,
we will
you
email.
can, I will email the details. You can just share the
Okay,
dates
sure.
right for now.
Yeah, so we will email the details of the registration and where and what the program is about. Let me just tell you quickly so you can block your dates. It's on the Good Friday long weekend in April from 10th to 12th of April at Mount Abu Gyan Sarovar, the Academy for Better World by Raj Yoga Education and Research Foundation. And we have our annual retreat for Leadership 2.0 on the theme Awakening to the Call of Time. It's a 3 days residential retreat, and it's a, again, as Brahma Kumaris, all events are free and the donations are voluntary based on what you like. So you just have to go and immerse yourself into that spiritual environment, gain for yourself, and give it back when you come back to your communities. So the dates are 10th April to 12th April, and all the registration details will come. You can also check the details in time to come on the IT Wing website. And a little bit about who we are for people who would have joined us for the first time. I'll just share crisply in next 2-3 minutes. We are a group of IT professionals who are actively practitioners of applied spirituality concepts, and we practice meditation while living in a work and family structure. And we represent the IT wing of Brahma Kumaris. It's a global NGO. It's also affiliated with the UNO. We believe in the concept of applied spirituality, and we are actively working as spirituality and IT team in all the IT hubs across India: Pune, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Chennai, where we conduct what to use the applied spirituality principles in our work domain, and we translate the profound spiritual principles into simple and useful life techniques. And how do we do that? Through simple conversations, reflective inquiries, yoga meditation laboratory, and likewise workshops that we conduct time to time at retreat centers as well as in your organization. If you want to arrange such a talk or yeah, so over 40,000 professionals have been touched in the last 6 years through our retreats and workshops and seminars, and they've transformed lives. And they were from 100 plus IT organizations, which includes big organizations like Google, Microsoft, TCS, IBM, HCL, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, and likewise, and so many different companies where our volunteers and sisters helped us transform to prevent burnouts. So that is our growth story so far. And coming down to the simple things, the Jam website, on this website where you can find very simple one-day meditation commentaries, just experiences mind to feel relaxed, bringing the focus. Yeah, so I apologize, my audio seems to be going time and again. So B-Zone app is another mobile app that you can download in the Play Store. Just type B-Zone and you will get the app. It's by UK Brahma Kumaris. It's got very beautiful armchair meditations and a mood clinic, daily challenge, mind spa, very small commentaries to even uplift mood, meditation commentaries according to your mood, what kind of thoughts to bring in. As sister, shared with us that we just need to have techniques to gently remind ourselves of who we are, and that does the job. It's very simple. So our upcoming events for IT professionals, you can check, as I shared, about the IT Wing retreat that's going to happen at Mount Abu and also across our various hubs. You can check on the IT Wing website in our events. Even our past webinar archives are present on the website, on the webinar. These are some of our contact us ways. You can contact us through email, sit@gmail.org. You can contact us through our website. We also have a WhatsApp number, calling numbers. Brother Praful is an amazing volunteer in Pune. His number is also here. He's with us in this webinar also. Today I'm doing his job of sharing all the contact details because he's having some audio challenges at his end.
That question.
Would you like to? Hello? Okay, so Brother Praful, would you like to give something at closure? The audio is good.
Yeah, Archana, so everyone, I'll just quickly share a short poll with you all. So if you can see the slide, thank you. Over there will be 2 questions displayed, which you need to answer. So let's take a minute or so, which would be a feedback for us for the session, and also it will help us to know how did you like the session. So I'll start the poll.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll just quickly click the poll.
So the first question is, please rate how relevant was today's session for yourself. So there are ratings, first one being the best, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star. Just click on any one of those and hit the next button. And the second question is, what's your experience with Rajaga meditation so far? So I'll just wait for another 15-20 seconds and then I'll stop the poll. Okay, so we have 50% have already answered the poll. I'll just wait for another 10 seconds.
Okay, Om Shanti, I'm leaving now.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I think we have the poll results. So I'll end the poll. Yeah, so I'll quickly share the results, what we got. So I think almost all of you all have given either 5-star or 4 stars. And yeah, your experience with Rajaga meditation, many are like 32% first time, and 42% have attended the IT programs before, and 26% participants are regularly attending. So that's great. Thanks everyone. So yeah, we are 5:15 close. So the webinar is kind of closed, but in case if someone wants to stay back to ask us any questions, you all can stay back. You all can unmute your mic and ask any questions or any queries you all have. Sister Archana and myself will be there to assist you all. Others, if you all want, you all can drop off. Thanks a lot again for joining. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. So would anybody like to ask anything or have any suggestions for our future webinars?
Yeah, I'm seeing so many chat messages are coming. One message that came to me is any changes in life causes me stress or fear of unknown and how to deal with anxiety while working. Would you like to answer that?
Yeah, Archana, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, whenever we are faced with change, as Brother Praful and we both have learned about this in our MBA. So this is a question from Mr. Sumit Kale, and it was at 5:07 p.m. And I'm not sure if he's around, but if he listens to the recording, he'll get the answer probably. So whenever we are faced with change, it's a human tendency to resist the change, and because we have so many fears to come out of our comfort zone, and we tend to create some stress and lot of thoughts. But when we learn to first of all accept, at that point in time, okay, here is the change, knowing that change is a constant thing. If you look at your own life journey right from childhood, you would have had so many changes from every class to every class teacher to every standard to college to friends, place, locations, and you were able to manage that change, and you would have realized that in every change there was hidden some benevolent things, some good things that happened to you, some growth stories that were there. So when you come with that belief system that change is hard and change is good, when you create that eye of positivity and you try to celebrate what's right in the situation than what what's not there. So when you bring your focus on what's right in the current situation, then you will be able to overcome all the fear and all the stress and anxiety because of the change. And it's just a shift of attitude, which you can do with a simple thought that I can handle. I am capable of handling anything and everything that life presents me. I have the capability in me, and the Almighty God is also with me. Um, so it would be helpful, I think, and you can share your experience after experimenting. Okay, so we're good to drop, I think. Anything else?
So we have this question posted on 517. How to come out of situation that hurt us? So yeah, definitely during the day-to-day scenarios, we might come across some situations, which hurt us. So I always keep this example in mind, the potter and the clay. So whenever potter builds a pot, he just doesn't create it like that. He has to beat that clay into a pot so that there is a good solid shape, round shape, and everybody takes it. In fact, even a person while purchasing the pot, he will just not like that purchase it. He will hit the pot a couple of times just to ensure that the thing doesn't break. So even situations that come into our life, which we feel we are getting hurt, but probably in disguise they are making us more stronger. And the more stronger we become, the more better we will be placed to face the situations in life. So whenever we feel such scenarios, don't get disheartened. That's what I have learned from experience. Instead, I think that that is a stepping stone, opportunity for me to move ahead. Just because one has to appear for exam, a student will not simply not attend it, because he knows that until unless he does not attend the exam, he won't be promoted to the next grade. Similarly are the situations. So any situation hurting us, any person hurting us, try to understand what is their intent behind that. Probably they might be perceiving things in a way which we might not be perceiving, and hence we might get an opportunity to explore different ways to see things. If we're able to do that, that's great. And if we aren't, then yeah, that is definitely a stepping stone, getting us ahead for the next challenge, for the next greater gift that life want to brings to us. So that's what I have learned from my experience.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. That's so empowering. Okay, so I think, yeah, it's time, and we are past 7 minutes, the usual time, and we take your leave with your permission, and we see you soon again next month.
Sure.
Until then, everybody can connect with us through the website, go to our nearest Raj Yoga Center and learn deeper about spirituality and Brahma Kumaris.
Thanks, Sister Archana, on behalf of everyone for having facilitated this event. And also I would like to thank everyone for joining in. And we generally have these kinds of webinar once a month. So we will definitely keep you all posted over emails whenever we have the next webinar. Till then, yeah, have a great weekend and a great time. And hope if you have liked anything about today's webinar, try to make that as a goal statement for the next month. And all the best for your journey. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.